Hi there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode. I just wanted to do a quick little damage assessment of the block back here. I know I cut it off kind of short in the last episode, but I wanted to tell you guys what my plans for the block are and stuff like that. But if you guys didn't watch the last episode, I'll throw a link up above and you guys can check it out if you'd like. But let's go take a look at this block. Okay, here she is. Small Block Chevy 350. Like I said, in the last video, the number 3 rod bearing spun. That's the worst damage that we found. You guys can see that in the last video. But here are the crank bearings, or main bearings, whatever you want to call them. They don't look too bad. I'm still going to replace them, of course, but they're not too damaged. They're a little chewed up, but nothing too bad. The cylinder bores are totally fine, thankfully. So those don't need any work at all. Let's talk about the cam bearings. So here's your cam bearing. Doesn't look too bad either. Obviously it's a little scratched up. You can see on this one there's a couple scratches, but nothing major. They don't look bad. I'll replace this as well, but I mean, obviously from all these bearings, a lot of junk went through them, and I'll show you guys the top of the engine here in a second. Over in the lifter galley, you can see flakes of metal in there, so there was a lot of flakes of metal that ran through everything and obviously scored all these bearings and just made them worse than they are. But let's go take a look over at the crank itself and I'll show you guys the damage on that. Okay, here's the crankshaft. And honestly, it wasn't too bad on this guy. You can see that most of the journals here are totally fine. Nothing was catching my nail on any of that stuff, except for this guy here. It's kind of hard to see on camera, but there's a visible ridge, and this is where the number 3, that discoloration spot right there, that's where the number 3 rod spun that bearing. So obviously there's going to be some damage there, and after looking at this stuff and calling around, it was going to be just about the same price to get this thing reworked than it was to buy a whole new crankshaft. So obviously you guys know the route I'm going to go. Just going to get a brand new one and call it a day. This isn't a crazy performance engine or anything like that, so just a normal stock one would be fine. That's all this guy was. But as you can see, all the journals look pretty good. Let's go over and take a look at the rods there, and I'll show you guys the damage on that. Okay, so the rods here. This is where the real fun stuff is. But here is the number 3 rod, and here's its bearing. You can just tell it's torn up, paper thin, and just totally destroyed. I don't know why just this one was so bad, to tell you the truth. But the rest of them, I mean, there's some damage on it. All the bearings are pretty much destroyed. And I'm thinking it was a series of events of that one letting go and then getting so much debris in the oil that you can just see it's scraped up everywhere. But like, some of them don't look horrible, but obviously they're all going to be replaced. There's no point in rerunning these. You'd be pretty dumb if you did that. But I think the rods are totally just fine. They don't look bent. There was nothing crazy that happened on the engine, so I'm honestly just going to rerun these, replace the bearings, and these should be good to go. Okay guys, well, after going over everything, I think it's pretty obvious what happened. I think the oil pickup tube came loose. In the last video, guys, you saw the oil pickup tube actually fall off as soon as I took the pan off. But I think that came loose. That caused oil starvation, which caused the number 3 rod here to let go. And then once that let go, that caused the other bearings to have debris go all throughout them and totally ruin them, causing my oil pressure to drop, causing the knock, and it was just a series of events, and luckily I caught it before anything major happened. I know the crank's ruined here, but you know, $200 for a crank isn't bad at all. So my plans are basically just to replace what I can, which is the crank. I replaced the timing chain, the oil pump, basically everything that I could. I'm keeping the heads. The rods and the pistons should just be fine. I'm gonna go through and replace all the bearings. I'm going to plastic gauge all of it before I put it together. Make sure all the clearances are good this time around. And I'm going to record everything that I can for you guys. Slap together some videos. So if you guys want to see that stuff, go ahead and subscribe, try to follow along with it. I'll try to teach you what I can. I'm no expert, but we'll see what we can figure out here. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.